We covered Andrei Arlovski in the last breakdown, and we spoke about the double right hand and the right hand back fist, which is used to knock out a lot of opponents. But in this fight against Josh Barnett, he needs to start thinking about other techniques in his arsenal which he can use to open up that opportunity. Josh Barnett's a very intelligent fighter, so if he becomes predictable, it's going to be easy to catch him with something. And one technique that I've seen him using quite a lot in his recent fights, and something that is synonymous with the Jackson Wink gym, you'll see it, John Jones uses it, Holly Holm uses it quite a lot, is the oblique kick to the front of the thigh. It's a very dangerous technique to use, and it's very good at hindering the movement forward of your opponent. So as I'm standing in my stance right now, it's a very, very low risk technique because I'm not really showing a great deal with my body. Obviously, most people are thinking about the right hand of Arlovski. So when he comes with this, there aren't many tells. It's very difficult to see what he's doing. But as he's chopping into that front leg, the front thigh just there, it's going to deaden that muscle, it's going to buckle the knee to the side, and it's going to slow that forward progression down. And another thing that's very interesting is when he fought Frank Mir, and Frank Mir is obviously a southpaw, he switched the kick up, so he used a hop oblique kick to the front of the thigh. And we've seen Josh Barnett switch his stance. He's very comfortable as a southpaw as well as an orthodox fighter. So when he does switch his stance, there are two options there. He can use either of those kicks. And one other thing I want to mention as well, we talked about in the Fight Focus with Josh Barnett, he tends to lean very heavy on that front leg. You'll see him leaning so he can throw that right hand over the top. It's a very short right hand as he's walking himself into range. Now, if his leg is bent like that and the weight's on the front, as I hit here, bam, that is going to buckle the knee to the outside. And it's really going to slow that movement down of Barnett. It's going to take the sting away from this right hand, and it's going to create room for Arlovski to land that big right hand. We know Josh Barnett's had a long and storied career as a submissions fighter, and we've seen him submit some of the best guys in the world on the ground. One thing that he uses very, very well in mixed martial arts is the arm triangle, and if you watch his last 3 submissions, this is the same consistent submission that he's landed on those 3 opponents that he's finished. So my opponent's on the floor in the mount position. That's where we're going to start from. Obviously, Josh Barnett has a selection of techniques to get the fight to the ground, but we're going to start from the mount position because it's quite a complex submission if you've not done submissions before. So in this position, he's got a few options. Obviously, the obvious one is to ground and pound. But another thing that he uses is forearm pressure across the throat, because this gets a reaction out of people. You saw it in his fight against Frank Mir up against the fence using the forearm. It's even more effective here when they can't get away. So if I'm putting pressure on my opponent's forearm, I'm going to get a reaction out of them. And a lot of the time, I can use that reaction to my advantage. But when you see Josh Barnett using it, a lot of the time, it's from strikes. He's called the War Master, so he likes to bring the intensity to these guys. So with the strikes, it brings the hands up, and then I can isolate an arm. And what I'm doing is I'm sliding one arm. The attacking arm is going down, through, and around the back of his head. But as I'm doing this, I've also got to put pressure on this elbow and push it across, because I don't want this to drop off his center line. This needs to be on his center line or across the other side, because as I come down, I need to trap it with my head and shoulder here before I meet my hands together. And if you watch my foot, my right foot is going to come over the top of his mount and then drop off to the side. And I'm keeping this pinned into his hip so he can't start scooting in towards me or scooting away. I have control of him here. He can't turn into me to escape the arm. And then from this position here, I'm squeezing, I'm driving in, and there's the tap. It's a really tight submission if you can get it on somebody. Very difficult to escape and very quick to get the tap.